So you want to buy a Chinese motorcycle. You've heard they have a lot of features that they don't cost as much as some of the other bikes out on the market, but you're scared to build it. You're scared of all the nuts and bolts. You don't know how you're going to get it registered to go on the road. You don't even know where to buy it from to start with. So we're going to talk about it. So to start with this, where do you even buy the bike? So the thing about these bikes is that there isn't necessarily a dealership in most cases. You do have CF Moto.
Right.
You have some others that actually own dealerships. What you're going to do is go online and find them, right? So Turbo Power Sports, TX Power Sports, Venom, Superior.
Amazon.
All dealerships are not created equal.
100%.
So we'll say that when you go into this, do your research and find a dealership that actually supports you. Call them before you order to make sure that they're actually going to support you after you order. If you can't get a hold of people, then you're not going to get warranty support, parts support, or anything like that. And you don't have a dealership that you can go show up to and yell at people.
Yeah, if you can't get them to answer the phone to take your money, they're definitely probably not going to answer the phone after they take your money.
So there's that. So you're going to buy them online more than likely. Some of us are lucky enough to have a dealership nearby. We have purchased through multiple dealerships. The latest bike right here we purchased through Turbo Power Sports. Shout out Turbo Power Sports. Awesome, communicative. They text with me. They give us updates on tracking. They gave us our MCOs in a very reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Georgia wanted an actual bill of sale instead of the invoice, and he sent me that within 2 hours.
Pretty quick.
Yeah. So they are actually communicating with us. That's what you want. Now, to actually pay for the bikes, you're paying online. This is not a put a deposit. This is not a you pay and you get your bike. This is a pay and pray.
I like that. Yeah, that's actually accurate. But you know what I would do if you put it on your credit card? Don't use a debit card. Use your credit card. You can mark it as fraudulent if nothing goes through.
That's true. So put it on your credit card, pay for it, and then pay it off.
Or use PayPal, right? You get protections.
That's true. There's different services. There's some that finance. Turbo Power Sports actually finances because they sell some more expensive stuff. A lot of these bikes, so they really range for the road legal. They range anywhere from like $1,200 up to over $10,000. But over $10,000, you're getting a crazy nice bike.
I would think $10,000. I mean,
yeah. So these are about $6 when it's all said and done and you're registered. The KPXs behind that are about $3 when it's all said and done. Now. Yeah, they went down in price.
Yeah, I know.
Still.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good point.
Good for everybody else.
Yeah. So that's a good point. Is they do typically come down in price over time, and the resale value also goes down. These do not hold their value like a Japanese bike. I mean, no bike holds its brand new value, but a Kawasaki from 2009 is still worth some money. Don't buy a 2009 Chinese bike. They have made so many advancements just in the last decade that I wouldn't have bought them until we did in about 2019, 2020.
I would agree with that.
So shipping and delivery, after you pay and pray.
Yeah.
You
got to set up the shipping.
Yeah. So they get the bikes out of a warehouse. They put them on a semi-truck.
And rail in our case.
Or rail. They get to another warehouse, and typically they're picked up by a liftgate truck that will deliver it directly into your driveway. Now, you sometimes have to pay for that liftgate depending on which dealership you buy from. So some offer free shipping, some offer free semi-truck shipping but charge for a liftgate, and some offer free everything liftgate to the door. Research that because one dealership may look cheaper than another until you account for that. I
was about to say free typically means the cost is probably somewhere there in your bike, which
especially if you buy on Amazon. I've seen $600 shipping.
Yeah. And look, freight nowadays, you have to expect if it shows up like Amazon says it's going to be there tomorrow, it's probably not going to be there tomorrow. Plan on it being delayed. Plan on it's like the cable company, right? When they say they're going to be there from 9 to 9, plan on being there from 9 to probably.
And this is not the fault of any dealership.
That's not the dealership's fault.
This is freight and delivery companies.
Freight and logistics.
It's like typically like R&L and places like that. We're lucky enough to deal with T-Force. Awful.
Not good at all.
So so it's going to get shipped to your house, but you don't get a bike. You get this, a box.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm holding up the imaginary giant box right here.
Box, right, yeah.
And do you get instructions with that?
I'd say you get a piece of paper with some pictures on it, but
for one part, it's usually like the hand guards or something. It's not the whole bike.
If you have any kind of common sense, it really wasn't that hard to.
Depending on the bike.
This is true. This bike was relatively easy.
This bike had the front wheel mounted already.
Yeah.
You basically had to do the controls, luggage,
axle
hand guards.
Tighten. I mean, literally, we just had to put the handlebars on.
Those back there,
not so much.
Front wheel not even mounted. The ones before that, front wheel and rear shock not mounted because bikes collapse down to fit in that crate. So once you finish, here's some assembly photos. This is the nightmare. It's wrapped. You got to unwrap it. You got to do all this stuff. We on tbr7.com, kpx250.com, and I'll add our videos to kpt400.com. We created the assembly stuff. So that helps, hopefully. But from a manufacturer, no, it doesn't exist as of today. Now, that's not to say companies like
LaFawn instruction service.
So assembly, congrats, you're a mechanic now. It is not extreme. Neither of us had really done any work on any of our motorcycles in all the time that we owned them prior to these. But we can turn a wrench,
right?
And we have a socket set. And we had to buy like one big socket and then some metric Allen wrenches, little stuff like that. But there is no specific tool. It'd be nice to have a torque wrench, but then you'd need torque specs.
Yeah, I have a torque wrench. I just don't have the torque specs because I watched another guy putting his together with a torque wrench. I'm like, I like the quick click, but what do we quick click at?
Yep. All right, so now you have a bike and you want to go to the DMV.
Better have everything in order.
That can be a process. So we have gone through a bunch of different things. I've done 13 road legal bikes now, Chinese bikes.
That's a lot.
Yeah, not all mine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not.
With all our buddies and everything.
I'm not like that. I've also done some non-road legal. So the non-road legal, nothing, right? You get like some paperwork, but there's no real title to those. The road legal, you're going to get an MCO or MSO, whatever they want to call it. It's a manufacturer certificate of origin. And then you're going to get a bill of sale. Those are the two things you need from the dealership. They typically mail it with the bike or shortly after via USPS. After you have that, you, depending on where you live, may need an inspection. You may need a sheriff to come out to your house and verify VINs, which we've had to do on one for some reason. But you're going to take that to your DMV and you're going to pay your taxes. Unless you bought from a dealership within your state. We did buy those KPXs in state. So we actually had to pay the dealership processing fee.
And then
Dan's still sore about that, like $35.
I think it was $65, but whatever.
Yeah. But so the dealership tagged it in that case. So if you have an in-state dealership, they will take care of a lot of that for you. Do not buy these bikes unless you know they can be registered in your area. So most of the fuel injected are going to be legal in just about every state. A lot of the carbureted I think all the carbureted are not legal in California, among maybe some other states by the time this airs, right? So see that other people registered it, check Facebook groups, ChinaRiders.net. The website, even on tbr7.com, I put a big spreadsheet that has all the registration needs for different areas. So make sure you get that taken care of, right? You're going to pay taxes and tag just like you would for a car. So in our case, it's like 7% up front. Boom.
Right. So, and make sure you have all that in order before you go to the DMV, because if you show up, the big thing, have your insurance binder, because we went up there one time and they
every time.
Yeah, they won't accept it through your email. You have to have it printed off. Show them a copy of it, and let's just be frank, none of them are ever that super friendly that want to help you. So
that's true.
Make sure you have it all in order when you go. Make your life a lot easier.
Yep. So pros and cons. I got it's a lot of bike for the cost, right? No other bike can compare, specifically with this one. Check out our videos on the KPT 400. But even on the KPX 250, the TBR7, you can't do that for a new bike from any other manufacturer.
No.
Unless it's another Chinese manufacturer.
Unless another Chinese. The price point was fantastic. The bang for the buck was good.
The tech has probably 10x improved in the last decade. So don't go buy a 2010 used Chinese bike. They flopped. They were not made to quality. They were clones, trying to be clones of like Honda bikes, and they were just really bad. So they have a really bad reputation because of that. But then we put somebody that's ridden a nice bike on one of these, and we change their mind very quickly because they can immediately tell the quality of them. And parts are getting easier to find. So we have dealers that we work with. Turbo Power Sports has reached out to us and said, we will get you the parts close to cost. So some other dealerships are out there.
Dirty.
Are out there. Well, they're charging ridiculous markups on these parts. And we're talking like clutch baskets, brake pad, the things you need to keep these bikes operating. So they know you're going to come get them.
50-60% markup.
And they do their, sponsored ads on Google. So those are the dealerships you end up at. The best dealerships are the smaller ones, like Turbo. There's some others out there. This is just the one that we've been working with as of late.
Partnerships with people that want to keep us riding for a reasonable cost.
That's right. So the cons, not all dealers are created equal. So we talked about that, right? Do your research. Don't just believe us, but go to Turbo Power Sports. But don't just believe us. There's others out there that are probably good. We've just had okay to bad experiences with others. Delays, missing parts, broken bikes when they arrive, starters not working, bad batteries. Anything can happen in that crate because it comes across the sea on a ship gets thrown into a warehouse, gets thrown onto a rail car or semi
And who
truck.
knows how long it's sat in a container?
Yeah, some dealerships will open them up and assemble them for you. But even those, I've seen people have issues with their assembly. I prefer to do any assembly myself.
I'd rather do it myself. I trust me turning wrenches versus someone else.
Yeah, and the biggest con I think is just that the resale value isn't there. So when you buy this bike, you're buying this bike to own
But
it.
you know that you want the bike.
Yeah, if you're gonna try to buy it and sell it in 6 months, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd hold on to it. So final thoughts. I'm gonna keep buying Chinese bikes.
I have to.
I think my next one is an electric, one of the electric dirt bikes.
Yeah. Those are quiet.
Yeah, but this is like my big bike. This is my kind of get around everywhere bike. Dan got one too. Watch our other videos. The KPX I am selling. Dan is keeping his KPX. We still have. We got 4 others within a mile of this house. We actually still have a TBR7 in our little group.
Farm, and then we'll have it whenever we go to the farm. Be an extra.
So yeah, do your research. Do your research on dealers. Do your research on local regulations for registering the bikes. Do your research on the bikes. There are people like us out there making videos about these bikes, content on forums, on Facebook groups. You can figure out a lot about this bike before it ever shows up at your house. So do that, and I'm in interest of keeping this video short. I think we're good, right?
Yes, I think we covered that. Yeah, it looks straight.
Feel good about that?
Yeah.
So you want to be so you want to buy a Chinese motorcycle. Motorcycle.
Motorcycle? Scooter?